Now from backstage of the Coliseum, here is the one, the only, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Hello, Warren.
Louis, welcome back to Evansville. I believe you played here a few years ago, did you not?
Well, the last time I played here, I had the big band, I think.
And how many in the band today?
Well, we have the All-Stars. The All-Star band is 6 of us, and Velma Middleton, the vocalist, makes 7.
Louis, let's go back a few years, maybe 30 or more.
Okay.
Tell us the story how you actually started in the band business and jazz, back, I believe, in New Orleans.
Yeah, in New Orleans. Well, I started off, and it's when I was the bugle boy and at the institution, and they finally made me the little trumpeter when the little cornet player went home. And we used to play Saints Go Marching In every Sunday, marching to the boys' church, and after the office. And then finally I got up, and then when I went back home, to live with my mother, and then I went up to Joe Oliver, who was my idol, King Oliver. He used to give me lessons while I run errands for Stella Oliver, his wife. And when she enjoyed a big plates of red beans and rice, she'd give me a big plate too. And when I went on the boat in 1919 and with Fate Marable in New Orleans, these excursion boats. And I stayed with him until 1921, and then I joined the Tuxedo Band with Celestin, brass band. And then finally Joe, who was in Chicago at that time, he sent for me to play second trumpet. And I went up there in 1922 and stayed with him till 24, and I joined Fletch Henderson at the Roseland in 1924, and I stayed till late up in the 25, and then I went back to Chicago and stayed with my wife, Lil, who was playing at the Dreamland. She had the band there. And then I doubled from there to the Vendome, where Ice Tate had a symphony orchestra. That's why I had the experience of playing a lot of silent pictures and reading a lot of classical music. That was my experience. And I remember one picture there with John Barrymore. It's Moby Dick out now, but he played it in those days, 1925, And I had about 60 balls left, and I was looking at the screen, and then Will put his leg off, and I could see Ice Tate now. Come on there, come on. I didn't miss my plays anyway, so I had a lot of laughs. And finally, I wound up at the Savoy Ballroom and went back to New York and took my own band over at Connie's Inn.
Louis, I imagine you've had many, many thrills in show business.
Well, it's all wrapped around music and, ups and downs, and it couldn't be nothing but happiness because I see that horn percolated all the time. I keep it cleaned out. So you're traveling one night, as you know, if you don't clean your horn out, you'll liable to blow it, and a hamburger or a pork chop or anything will come out.
Louis, of all the wonderful opportunities you've had, your picture appearing in Life magazine, on all of your top television programs, recordings, and your trip around, I believe, around the world. Is there any one story that sort of brings back a memory to you of all those wonderful events?
Oh, well, the time we went to Rome, they had a little teenage band welcoming us, and they had a sign that welcome the Armstrong as All-Stars from the New Orleans Roman Jazz Band. And then the trumpet player, his mother was a countess, so she invited us out to this big home, and while we were jamming, while they getting the spaghetti ready, and they had that great big dining table there, and up in the ceiling there was thousands of dollars worth of paintings of Napoleon, Cleopatra, and all them cats, And while you're eating spaghetti, they're smiling, looking down on you. And I told Velma Middleton, I said, Velma, look like they look at us and say, Sam, you sure can eat a whole lot.
Louis,
that knocked me out.
Louis, of all the wonderful people you've played with, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Ed Sullivan, and all, who do you believe today, as far as jazz, outside of Louis Armstrong is concerned, who's the top jazz man?
Jack Teagarden.
Why do you say that, Louis?
Because he is. He's the master of the music. To me, I think we think the same as far as the soul and the phrases and the chords and the life of a tune. You notice how we used to do old rocking shit and everything. Just stand out there and talk and sing, and the people would just go wild. And Trummy Young come right in and dug it, and it's just marvelous.
It's been digging ever since.
Jack has inspired so many kids on that instrument, and it's the same as I have tried. So I just, that's in my mind, the first thing you'll think about is Jack.
Louis, tell us the story of the name Satchmo. How did that get tagged onto you?
Well, when I was a kid in New Orleans, until I went to London, they used to call me Satchmo, see? So I got off the plane, and when I caught the train into London, I met the melody maker, who was strictly English, Percy Brooks. He was the editor. He shook my hand and said, "Hello, Satchmo." So I didn't say nothing, but when I got to the stage, I asked my trombone player, who was just come over from Paris, I said, "Why did he call me Satchmo?" So he said, Well, because he thought you had more mouth. I rained on you that time, didn't I? That mouth was a little juicy.
Louis, we certainly enjoyed talking to you. One final question. What do you think is the outlook for jazz for 1955?
Well, I tell you, the outlook, dig it at yourself. I am laid off in 10 years. So about 3 days, so you can tell how important jazz is.
Still going strong.
Yeah, and in Milan, Italy, they compare jazz the same as opera and classics. Because you play them both from the heart. After my concert, I had to go over to the La Scala and stand beside Verdi and all them big opera cats because they wanted it that way.
I believe you're quite a classical music fan, too, are you?
Yeah, I have everything in the classical music because I played it, you know, and I have a tape recorder selection. And I buy all those albums. I'm now working on Hamlet. I just recorded Hamlet and a big album of Les Baxter called Fashion. You ever hear it? Dig it, man.
Man, we sure will.
That's music.
Louis, it's been wonderful talking to you. Many more years of wonderful jazz music. Thanks a lot, Satchmo Armstrong.
Okay, Babs. Thank you.